video, just gonna give you guys another update, and we are almost on the testing now. So I've done everything to get the app ready for testing, meaning getting it on TestFlight iOS as well as getting it on the Google Play Store. So folks on Android can test the app as well. And I was told that the Android market is actually quite small, so it's probably about 10-15% of testers. So I wouldn't focus too much on Android if you're trying to get your app out fast and deploy. So I personally own an Android as well as an iPhone, so I figured I'd get it out on both platforms and test it out to make sure it's okay. But nowadays, everybody's switching onto the iPhone and iOS. So testing is interesting actually, because it's a big milestone and a big step for every tech founder, and it's basically getting the idea out of your head and out of your heart and now in front of the world and in the hands of other people. So that could be very vulnerable, having a masterpiece, and like this is the same with like art and music. You create a song, you create a painting, now you got to show the world, now you got to put a price on it, and now you have to get validated from people. And I think a lot of people have an identity issue here where, now you're putting something out there, and if you feel like it fails, then it's an attack to your identity. It's as if, you create an idea, you spend all this time on something that's not validated, that's not worthy, and you're not achieving that product market fit that you were looking for. Of course, it's valuable information, and every founder has to go through this in order to get to market. But it was interesting for me to surface these thoughts and this mindset and these things that just came up, that bubbled within me as I'm getting things ready for testing. And I don't know how much you guys know about testing and getting builds up. So basically, by now I've gotten like almost 20 builds for Android and Apple up to the store and got it ready to go, and like basically sent it off for review. And then I came back, it's like, no, wait, something's not perfect. I went back into Claude Code, started reiterating, started creating things, started tinkering with things. I'm like, oh, but what about this? What about this? Oh, I can make this better. I can make that better. When I'm talking about the screens, I can make the user interface better. I can make the functions better when it comes to how decisions are surfaced, how goals are surfaced, things like that. And these are what I've been going through over the last couple of, I would say probably the last 7 days, is a lot of like doubting myself as to like what people would actually enjoy and what people would be, more drawn towards using, which features they would be more drawn towards in the app, right? And of course, you show it to a couple of people, and then like everyone has their own ideas and their own opinions as to what it should be and what it shouldn't be. And it is a lot of back and forth. And I had a bit of a breakthrough moment today, because like I'm almost ready to ship. I created the test email, right? So the email that's supposed to go out to all the testers. I created the PDF document that outlines the features, like a bit of a user manual. I even created, with the help of Claude Cowork, the user feedback form. Super cool to watch just Claude Cowork just working within my browser, like in front of me, like as I'm just watching it work. It's crazy. And then just getting the last little bit of testers to sign up. So I'm actually over 100 now, which is great. So nice to have 100 actual real legitimate people who at least put their hand up to say, yes, I'm down to test. I mean, not every single one of them I'm expecting to do the testing, but for the most part, even if I get 40-50 testers, that's a lot of valuable information. And that's exactly where I want to be and need to be right now. So I had this thing that's been a recurring thought in my head about businesses and the businesses that I've ran, because I've most in my life have ran like pretty safe businesses, like businesses where I'm trading my time or trading my expertise for money, basically, right? So nothing scalable. So I haven't actually worked on a project that's like digitally scalable or even scalable period like this probably for most of my life. So I've just been a hustler my whole life and been a merchant my whole life. There's nothing wrong with that. I just always felt that I wanted to scale, right? You want to buy the freedom. I think everyone wants to build a scaling business, something that's going to buy you freedom and the life that you want and all the things in the life that you want. So, there's something called, the perfectionist trap, and then, paralysis by analysis, and money traps, right? How you think about money. So all these things have surfaced in my mind over lately, because I'm like, hey, I could build an app. I want to have all this impact. But like, I didn't really have a revenue plan or revenue targets or like a path to revenue or anything like that. And I was like, this is something I really, really need to think about. And where is the hesitancy within me to realistically sit down and like, put these things on pen and paper or online these days. So, I had this idea. I was like, you know what, before I continue to go with this testing, I've promised testing to my testers like days ago. So I'm a couple of days behind on that already, because I keep tinkering. I'm in the lab. I keep on tinkering with the app and what I want it to do. And I had this, I thought that was okay, what's going on with me right now? What's going on inside me right now? Why am I having this hesitation to put the testing out, to put out an imperfect product? I keep tinkering. I keep on taking my foot off the gas, and some of my testers might cool off by that point, right? They might just be like, hey, it's been a while since we heard from you, and the circumstances have changed, and I don't have time to test the app anymore. So I think that risk is very real as I'm going through my hesitancy to push out a subpar product. But it was such an interesting thing that just happened, and that's what prompted me to make this video. Is that I had this question. I'm like, okay, like I'm having these issues inside about having my mindset or about money. Like what's my hesitancy here? What's really going on here when it comes to like thinking about revenue and the money side of this business, and like what's actually going to create a successful business. So then my first thought was like, you know what, I'm going to pop this into Perplexity AI and just get like a little bit of a insight on like what's actually happening. And then after I did that, I was like, wait a minute, why did I go to Perplexity, right? And that was a question for me, is that would outline the behaviors of my users. Is like, okay, if they had a question about something that's actually going on deep inside their head and they'd like an answer right away, they're going to open up OpenAI, they're going to open up ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, whatever their preferred engine is, and they're going to try to get an answer right away. So I'm like, wait a minute, I have an app, or I'm trying to build an app here that it's supposed to help you be productive, figure out what the next step is, and work through these mind traps in your mind, and give you a clear path and some clarity as to like what's going on and what's the next step to make. So why is it that like when I had a question and I felt stuck about something, why did my first instinct go to Perplexity when I've been literally the one building this app for this exact same reason for months? So I was like, you know what? I actually took my Perplexity response and I loved it. It framed things. It gave a name to certain things like the money traps and the paralysis by analysis, and the perfection, the fear perfection loop, like all these real names to real frameworks that have actually been thought of by professionals. And then I actually took the exact same prompt and I put it into, or the exact same response, I guess it was a prompt that I put into Perplexity, which essentially was a journal entry, into Trailblaiz to see what came up. And Trailblaiz actually uncovered some really cool stuff too, right? Reflected things back to me, maybe gave me things I should be thinking about and my next step. So then I took both of them and I put it back into Perplexity. I was like, hey, listen, like I love the response that I got from you, but here's the response that I got from my app, right? Where is the middle ground here? Where can we find something that's good enough for when I have an issue and something that I'm going through in my life, and I'd like to get like an instant response from it as to what I'm going through and how it can help me. Like compare these two responses and give me a prompt to give back to my Claude Code to produce something that can actually surface up the answer that I'm looking for, as I'm in this moment of needing an answer and needing some clarity in the moment about something I'm actually going through in my mind. So again, this is just another level of tinkering. Now I'm literally at like Android build number 20 and iOS build number 17 because I started Android earlier. And everything else I've been tinkering since last night to today. It's been like at least like 6 to 7 different versions, and I'm already running up to my credit limit for my EIS builds, right? So before I have to start paying extra, otherwise I wait till May, and like I cannot wait till May. So I think this is gonna be the last one as long as it works, and then I'm gonna get it out because perfection is the enemy to progress. And I think at this point I need progress and I need to get things out, and then so I just felt like just come on here and just sharing that part of the journey, as I've been focusing a lot on positioning and competition over my last 2 episodes of here. This episode now is getting things out testing, and like again, it's a big psychological thing, actually getting it into the hands of the people and seeing how they actually feel about it. And then once, let's say best case scenario, they love it, and there seems to be a product market fit, and this, they're open to paying some money for this. Then comes marketing and scaling, and now getting it out to a broader audience actually, and then dealing with competition in the real world, not just analyzing them. So the next few episodes, I'm pretty sure, are going to be me actually having released the testing, right? So using iOS TestFlight and Google, getting the feedback, iterating on it, maybe having a couple of interviews with people who've had interesting feedback. And and worst case scenario, if they don't like it, if they don't see that there's value in what I'm producing, then just taking that feedback and then trying to build something that actually has value for them to actually pay for. So I think that's the next logical step as to everything that I'm going through right now. And yeah, it's a lot. I've been working a lot. It's been a little heavy. Just out of breath all the time. I am taking care of my body. I am eating well. I'm relatively sleeping well. Last night didn't sleep too well, but just as I was just tinkering the different modes so much, but just doing my best just to try to push this forward and just to have progress and just to try to stay out of my own way when it comes to manifesting this great dream and this great business and this great app. We usually find ourselves as our own worst enemy, and I find that happens quite a bit in this entrepreneurial journey. So gonna try to just keep focused and push forward, and we'll see you guys in the next one. And please like, share, and subscribe if you're in transitional period in your life. If you are an what we call an overwhelmed operator, that would put you into our market, or our target market, and that's like parents, entrepreneurs, founders, people who've got like a lot of balls in the air and they don't want them to drop at the cost of losing themselves. So I just got to get better every single time at articulating what it is actually that I'm building. It's a pretty complicated system, and like already that sounds like a no-no when it comes to building tech, right? You want to build something that's easy, frictionless, but I really do believe that the mind is complex, and then this is we try to make it as simple as possible. I'd say we again, it's literally just me. It's me and my AI agents. That's who we is. And then so it's funny because I another cool use of AI right now, because I've been using all sorts of AI. I've been using Manus for the deep research. I've been using Claude Cowork to produce social media for me. Claude Code, of course, to produce the app for me. And using, actually got into Notebook LM as well, actually, because Notebook LM is a really cool way to repurpose information and to teach it back to you in a way that's helpful. And I got all my information for my ICP and my positioning from a first principle standpoint, which is really cool too. I'll get to that in another episode. And now I have all this information about like who my ICP should be and like what my positioning should be. And then now I'm like, okay, as the CEO now, I need to be able to articulate this as fast and as quickly as possible from a first principle standpoint so that people can understand, elevator pitch, if you will. So I was like, you know what, I need some executive training when it comes to this stuff. And I got Notebook LM to take these documents that were produced by Manus and like to teach it back to me in a podcast form where two people are actually talking about like my ICP, what I'm trying to do, the positioning, the app itself. And then that was really cool because I'm just like literally sitting here listening to this podcast between these two AIs that sound very real. Like they're making mistakes, they're stumbling, they're mumbling at some point, and I'm just sitting here and being like, okay, this is how it would sound like if people were actually out there talking about my app and what I've built. So that was very helpful. So yeah, just me and my team of agents. That's what we're doing. So anyways, we'll see you guys in the next episode.